Hey guys, welcome back to the Tough Love Podcast with Dr. John O'Connor. Today's podcast is about self-optimization. This is a topic that I really wish that I would have learned a little bit more and took a deep dive into probably, 10, 15 years ago instead of the last couple of years. As of late, you've been hearing a ton about, all over Instagram, Facebook, and other social media outlets about, ice bath and PEM therapy and nutrition and fitness and meditation and journaling and just coaches of all varieties and whatnot. But I'm here to say that, in doing those things and being a huge supporter of them, I definitely know that they work. And again, like I said, I would have avoided so much stress and, my run with depression, all the different things that I went through if I had had better outlets and really understood the importance of taking care of yourself. And again, I remember when I was starting to get into Tony Robbins, there was a passage in one of his books about, when you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask drops, it's, get your oxygen on first, take care of yourself before you can help someone else. And I think most people don't realize that until it's upon them and they're just, they lose their health or, something's going on financially. But first, let's talk about physical optimization. For me, this last 2 years has been, a total rebuild of my physical stature, how I train, how I eat, how I perform. And probably one of the biggest things that I've seen is my ability to stay healthy and recover. And, that has come with really understanding how my body works and also kind of lowering my ego guard down a little bit and being better at having a start, a middle, and an end with regards to my workouts, as far as warming up and then nailing my workout and then cooling down. And I think so many of us, they're in a rush and they schedule their 12 to 1 o'clock workout and they skip those kind of things. And then they start running into what I call, when I'm in Dr. O'Connor mode, picking the scab. And for me, that's sacred ground. I step into the gym, my phone goes to do not disturb. I make sure that I warm up my body from head to toe and then I get into it. And, my fitness prep coach that's handling my nutrition, is doling out some serious, I call it discipline mapping with regards to my daily nutrition, but he's also overseeing my supplementation and my cardio and everything else. And, if I wasn't putting in the work with regards to getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, doing an hour and a half of PEMF and body work and all the stuff that I'm doing, I don't think I would be in the condition I'm in right now. And again, looking back, I can remember so many times in my 30s feeling like I was broken. And, obviously what, sparked this podcast was my, complete and total breakdown right around my mid 40s. And, it was rush, go, go, go. And, people will say, you're chasing, financial, you're trying to spend time with your kids, you're trying to spend time with your family, you're spending time with your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever that is. But broken's broken. And if you're broken and you can't be there and you're empty when you're there, what's the point? What's it all about then? So when we talk about this optimization, genre, I think it's so important to really understand. And I think this is something that people are really getting and harnessing, and there's a huge business about it. But like for me, the next part of like my daily recovery and just, getting my mind right is, I start every morning. And for those of you who follow me on social media, that you see that I'm on this, this blue machine, which is called PEMF, which is pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. It's a game changer for me, right? It basically, resets and recharges my body and, all the little aches and pains from all the years of sports performance training and athletics and any injuries I may have. I can basically put those PEMF pads on me and, keep them quiet and prepare for the day, And for me, what I do with that when we talk about optimization time is that's quiet time. The house is, well, I have a puppy in the house now, so it's not completely quiet, but the house is relatively silent And that's a time where I lock into my now business coach, Andy Elliott. I'll listen to him on a podcast, or I'll jump into his, app and do some coaching time, or I'll listen to another one of my favorites in Bedros, and just set my mindset and intentions for the day, probably for the first 30 to 45 minutes. So I'm programming my brain for the, pathways that I want to be firing and the direction I want to go. And that's a 7-day-a-week thing. And I have to say that when I'm locked in and doing that, I am so much better throughout the day because my intentions are clear. I don't get caught up in, distracting or thoughts that aren't serving me. And it just puts me in a much better headspace. And again, the entire time I'm on PEMF doing that. So, I'm getting my body warmed up. Now, another go-to for me is red light therapy that I utilize, whether I'm using it on my ankles, my knees, or my back on a regular basis. And again, we talk about cellular rejuvenation, keeps the body loose, lowers any pain factors, and just keeps me feeling great. And again, I think that's such an important thing for people to understand is how many times they miss a workout because their body's beat up, they're sore, they're achy, they don't feel like pushing themselves. What I learned was, my 30s and 40s, I would do that and then I'd break down, then I'd be injured, then I'd be depressed. And, you would think being in healthcare and had treated, probably 14 or 15,000 patients by that time, from just a commonsensical point, that I would understand that. But sometimes, they say like the doctor is the worst patient, right? So I didn't really listen to that because I thought couldn't subscribe to it. It wasn't me. And clearly it was. So then recovery, my post or end of day recovery is, also to me equally important. I like to end the day with heat. And I remember during COVID, I used to literally, as consistent UB, listen to and read all the Ed Mylett books and really kind of dial in. And I love heat at the end of the day. So, I like to get under the stars, get in the hot tub and just loosen up my body, go through a series of stretches that I have. And at the same time, kind of just organize my thoughts and kind of recap the day. And that has been really a game changer for me. And I strongly urge not everybody's going to have a hot tub at Access, but, a hot bath, a hot shower, whatever that is, but just get your body warm, get your body ready for relaxation. Because again, if you can optimize your sleep and rest, which is critical for mental and physical recovery, then the financial gains that you're seeking are going to be that much easier to attain because you are ready to rock and roll. You're not waking up trying to get yourself going, trying to get over an ache or a woe. You're ready to go. And to me, that's what it's all about. I found that, there was a good bit of time that I wasted. And so I look at this next 10 years like I'm trying to, reprogram, reboot, and, just recreate everything about what I do, how I exist, how I manage my body, and, everything around it, because I want to be the best I can be. Talking nutrition, I think nutrition is a huge part of, our daily health, and that can either go and, rock it up and do fantastic, or it could bottom out and that's why you're struggling. The last year, I started food prepping, and, it was definitely something that I'd never done before, no less, be somebody in the kitchen cleaning and making, healthy staples on a regular basis. Now, I fancy myself quite the self-proclaimed chef when it comes to, the 4 or 5 things that I make that, I kind of like them better than the restaurant because of how I cook and the seasonings I use, but more importantly, how I feel. And I will say the one thing that any of my fitness competitor friends and people out there that are in it, I was such a happy fool about 4 weeks ago when I was just, eating and my food was in a lean bulking stage, if you will, where I was basically eating a ton and just feeling full and great. And now as I'm leaning out and about 6 weeks out from my first, physique competition for, the 50, I guess it's a senior class event, it's amazing to cut my daily carbohydrates by a third, how it's just very, calming, if you will, that it sucks the energy out of you. The one thing that anybody that knows me is like, I'm a fireball. So for me to be like, whew, I'm tired, it's definitely noticeable. But again, why is nutrition so important? It fuels you, what you put in your body, how you look, how you feel, it goes a long way. I don't know how many times, I see and look at patients and I'm intrigued with, what comes out of their mouth and what they say about their physical appearance and how that's affecting them. And, for me, that was something that I also was very cognizant of over the years, and realized that where I'm at now, it's more about, if I do the right things, I'm feeling great. And if I stay in that zone and I feel amazing, it doesn't make any sense for me not to just do that. So if I have to get up a little early to make food, or, I'm running to my favorite, cashier at ShopRite or Acme or wherever I'm running into to grab my groceries, the bottom line is, whatever you're doing, if it's working and you're recreating yourself and you're feeling amazing, stay there. And again, when you talk about optimization, like, I don't deviate. I haven't had alcohol. I just drink water for the most part. I drink coffee black. And, my friends ask, is it hard? I say, honestly, I feel great. As long as I have my food with me, I'm in a good spot. And if I go to places that know me, they do a great job of, giving me a relatively clean dish that, if that's my cheat meal, it's probably better than 95% of what are people eating on a regular basis. So that's that. Let's get to financial intelligence and optimization. This was something that, I really wish is like this last couple of years, and even probably started during COVID when I was really trying to scale the businesses. And I knew that I had the individual or small group performance down to a science. My patient interaction results were there, but I really didn't understand money. And, I was so excited to acquire a business coach, this year. And again, I coach within my own expertise as far as, putting sciences into practices and showing doctors the amazing benefits they have. And then, of course, having them benefit by having services and increasing the tools on their tool belts. And then, at the end of the day, making more money and helping more people. So it's a win-win for everybody. But, financial optimization is really about, how much free time you can create by making better decisions. I think that, when I was thinking about this podcast today, I think so many of us can resonate with the mindset of rushing around. You're making a ton of money, but you have no time to enjoy it. And, I've kind of retooled or recreated myself in saying, I want to carve my time out so that I have downtime that I can, basically, and in, a cliche manner, say, stop and smell the roses, and, be able to enjoy myself and not just feel like I'm rushing through, a morning, a day, a week, a month, a year, but to be able to carve out time to really enjoy the special people around me, to enjoy the environment, to enjoy the moment and be present where I'm at, and I think for such a long time, I was constantly thinking where I had to be next and rushing off. That puts a huge drain on you. You're not optimizing during that time. You're burning yourself out. And, I could definitely write a book on how to do that at a expert level, because I think I've ran into burnout probably 3 times in my adult professional life, and whether it's physical, mental, financial, spiritual, relationship wise, I think they all come into play. And the reality is, to me, it's like, the planet, as far as the solar system and how everything moves around orbit, and gravitational pull and whatnot. If any of those are out of balance, they are all sacrificed. There's compromise and there's going to be loss. And so again, the whole thought process of optimization for me was to do better at balancing all of those categories and topics so that I could, be better to those around me, be more relaxed, be more present, and not constantly driving. And again, I think probably for the next, foreseeable future, you're going to hear me talk a lot about, this Andy Elliott guy. And, I think what he does and how far he has come with regards to, he's on a remarkably fast track to be one of the top coaches in the world. But more importantly, and I think what's most impressive for me, that's been a pretty high level sports coach and now coaching in the clinical realm, he is relentless in his pursuit of just his craft, like constantly sharpening the blade. And, just in the small time that we've begun the process of working with him, I see myself, sharpening my own blade because I want to be that much more intense. I want to be that psycho competitor. I want to be, more present when I'm home and in the work environment when I'm coaching, again, being a strong, positive and, next level communicator, so that when I'm speaking to patients or doctors or anybody, it takes me to that next level. So I think that that's probably one of the biggest things that I would say that I'm excited about is, knowing that when you put yourself in a room full of winners, you're going to win. Conversely, if you put yourself in a room full of losers, you're just going to be another loser in the room. And, and that's been around forever. Your coaches used to tell that when you were a kid, or teachers, or I think they were a lot more real when we were kids. There's a lot more rules for teachers and administrators and people of authority now and how they can speak. But the reality is it still holds true. If you're trying to level up, then you need to have people that you're looking up to, and if you're looking down at them with regards to, their status to your status, you're probably going to stay right where you are. For me, the optimization is that, me taking care of my mind, my body, my financial literacy, everything allows me to be able to teach others and push myself for many years to come. And again, as I move into coaching and consulting and, obviously I still love practicing, but the coaching and consulting, it is amazing how important it is to be sharp, to be in great physical shape, to be in ridiculously clear mental, as far as mental focus and no fog, and be sharp and be ready to know that your job is to motivate, educate, and transform these practices and doctors you're working with, or whatever that is you're consulting in. And, to me, that becomes your obligation and your bond. If you say you're going to do something, my expectation is you're to get it done. And so that's what I would say. I mean, so again, for all you guys out there, ladies and gentlemen, both, if you find yourself burning out, start really paying attention. And again, whether it's social media, just utilize Google, look at all the self-care options that are out there. Something as easy as, a cold shower or journaling or, just eating clean. And, don't get me wrong, eating clean, what I'm doing right now is extreme, right? There's a destination where I'm going to go. So, as my meals are changing and my carbohydrates are going down and my fats and proteins are changing, the reality is it's because, I have pushed myself on this quest, if you will, and I don't want to be average. I don't even want to be good. I want to be that psycho competitor that's the best one in that age bracket. And, and that's for me, and the one thing about the optimization, concept philosophy about taking care of yourself is it's also me saying thank you and being grateful for my body allowing me to do this. Because again, I think for so long, so many of us take for granted that we're going to have our health. And I believe when you lose your health, it's amazing. You can't think about anything else other than reclaiming it. So, I can't, be more grateful to be in this opportunity that I'm in now to, get up on a stage and reflect and talk about that, because for so many of us that people quit and they stop pushing themselves, they stop taking care of themselves. And to me, if I can inspire people to, think about these things and, even if it's 10% better, right? Eating 10% better, drinking, 10% more water, going for a walk daily, journaling, in the morning or at the end of your day, any of these kind of concepts that have worked amazing for me, you're going to feel better. Right. And again, I posted something on one of my stories today, and it was progress over perfection. And every day I seek to make progress, right? I think for so long I chased perfection and I was never happy. Now I set small goals. I may set 100 of them in a day, but when I achieve them, that endorphin rush is something that keeps me going, right? And it also gives me the fulfillment that I set a goal, I achieve the goal, on to the next challenge. And I think that when we talk about optimization and taking care of yourself, I think that so it doesn't become something that's a fad, I think you need to do that. I think that's something that will keep you consistent. I think that's something that will keep you hungry, keep you coming back, right? So, I learned, so much from so many of the amazing, podcast people out there that use their podcasts as a platform to deliver what they do. And again, some of these amazingly successful businessmen and women do a great job of putting content out there that I think all of us feed off of. And, and to me, then it gives me a direction to go read a book, an audiobook, or do both to really memorize and imprint on that so that I can build that into my own recreation board of my 5.0 self. So at any rate, just to, talk about PowerPoint closing, every day when you get up in the morning, something that works for me, throw a podcast on, throw a motivational, book on, get it in your ears, make that first 30 minutes powerful. And again, if you're one of those people that rushes through your morning to get out the door, do yourself a favor, do your body a favor, do your mind a favor, do your spirit a favor. Get up 15 minutes early, 30 minutes early, and just give your body time for a little grace and allow it to wake up and loosen up and get ready for the day ahead. That way, to me, when people say, how was your day? It was amazing. I crushed it. I look forward to every opportunity to be challenged so I can, step up to that challenge and crush it. And that's something that's transformed me, because you asked me that 4 years ago, I probably would have crawled under the couch and, and hid from that answer. But now I look at it as from taking care of myself, from doing the little things, from being consistent and eliminating, a lot of the procrastination. I found that, my mind, body, and even, thankfully my finances are all compounding, so anyway, today's topic to me was something that really hits. It's special. My consistency with going on the PEMF is something that, I put out there, and I'm hoping it takes flight, because I really feel like so many people would benefit from taking better care of themselves. I think it'll benefit their relationships. I think it'll benefit their work interactions, and I think it'll benefit their financial success. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. This podcast really hits home for me, because it's really been about the spiritual, mental, and physical journey over this last couple months and years, actually. And again, optimization is something that really is special. And when you learn to take care of yourself, you realize that it's not just the respect you're giving to yourself, it's what you project to the people around you. And when they see that you take care of yourself, they're going to start taking care of themselves. So I hope this podcast hit home for you guys today and you enjoyed it. Please share it, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.